And hello everybody, welcome back to RFC News, guys. I hope you're all well. A live stream for you, an emergency live stream for you, because we're going to be discussing some transfer news for you in this live stream. Now, as always, do get involved in the live chat, guys. I'm going to be taking some chats from all of you guys a little bit later on. But of course, as you can read there in the title, some huge news as Chelsea have made official contact or initial contact over a transfer for Jefte next summer. We're going to be diving deep into this one, of course. A Brazilian report did, of course, circulate a couple of hours ago, but it has now, of course, been followed up from inside Rangers sources as well. So there is a lot of truth in this story, but as always, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get into it. Earlier on today, it was announced, of course, Kieran Dow had left the club to go out on loan to Birmingham City. Again, a transfer that everyone was anticipating. Again, I hope this is the end of the chapter, and we'll get to the new chapter soon, because all of these kind of transfer stories that we're starting to hear are a part of this new chapter, this new exciting chapter that we're going under. Now, in terms of Kieran Dow, he's out the door. Again, another player that probably shouldn't have been signed. Again, I've been campaigning for a long time as a Rangers supporter for us not to be going in for journeyman players that play in the Championship that just come here up for one last payday. It's never a match made in heaven, and it just doesn't work out. So again, we've learned a lesson with him. He's gone on loan. I'm not sure what's going to happen to him in the summer, but that was confirmed by the football club earlier on today. There's of course been more talk around Tom Lawrence, potentially another high earner that could be departing the club as well this January before the window closes. So we'll keep you updated with regard to that as it does go on, and that may be progressing. However, of course, it is a clearing up still the work from the summer. We got a bulk of it done back in the summer, getting all these high earners off the wage bill, and it's still into January. There's still some work to do, but Kieran Dow is the latest to go out of the door as well. So, yes, whilst the incoming front for Rangers has been very depressing, I'm not going to lie, it's been very quiet from a Rangers perspective. Not much going on in terms of the incoming front, which I do find a bit frustrating, because we do clearly need reinforcements. We're 27 days into the January transfer window. We've signed one player, however, he's not ready to play just yet. You know, classic Clement signing. He needs a bit of time to bed in and all these kinds of stuff. So, yeah, frustrated about that, because I still do believe we need some more players to come in through the door, but it is what it is. Now, let's get on to this transfer news, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, as I touched upon in the intro there was initial talk, or there was talk earlier on, or a report circulating from Brazil with regard to this man. Yes, Jefte is a player, of course, that signed last summer, a player that's probably in our new transfer mold, as in buying young, looking to try and to develop, and then try and sell for some profit. However, of course, a wild rumour, and people were just dubbing it as that, a wild rumour earlier on today, circulating from Brazilian media, stated that Chelsea were in talks over a deal to try and, sign Jefte. But of course, when it comes to these foreign sources, we don't necessarily know how much truth is in the matter. We don't necessarily know. What can come of it. However, this has now been confirmed by inside Rangers sources, multiple inside Rangers sources, and stated and confirmed these rumours are true, and that Chelsea from the Premier League have made initial contact regarding a move for Jefte for the summer. Rangers have not yet received any bids. However, they are understood, or the club are understood, that there is a lot of European interest in Jefte at this moment in time, and of course there could be more clubs coming to the party looking to try and sign Jefte over the from now until the end of to the start of the summer transfer window. So again, that's take of that what you will. That's from reputable sources, in terms of sources that are close to the football club. So that wild Brazilian report that came around earlier on today is in fact got some truth to the matter, and it does look as though he of course is the subject of interest from Chelsea Football Club. Now again, am I surprised? A little bit, of course. I don't think Jefte's necessarily lit up the whole league domestically or in Europe, but we've seen some glimpses. I think he's a player that is very young, 21 years old. He's a player that's still fairly raw. He's a player that's still developing. There's no doubt that the boy has a lot of potential, and this is what these big clubs, and Rangers massive club anyway, bigger than Chelsea, but what I'm saying, these big Premier League clubs, rich clubs I should say, I should use the wrong terminology, these rich clubs have a kitted out scouting department, and they're of course analysing players. They have all the data and the statistics before when they want to try and purchase or pursue a player. So they've done the homework, they've done the research on him, and obviously see him as a player that the way that he's playing now, he could obviously go on and be a top player in the future. Again, I do think he's a top player now, just to reiterate, but I don't necessarily think that he's ready to go and play for Chelsea Football Club in the Premier League. However, as stated, there's a big caveat there. He's a very young player, 21, playing a lot of games, and this is certainly a transfer that Chelsea will look to for the future. So, yeah. I mean, that's it. There's no bid been submitted by Chelsea just yet. There is nothing more, but Chelsea have made contact. That's a fact. So we'll have to wait and see. It's not over a move this January. It's over a move in the summer. So let's wait and see. But it's also been confirmed that other European clubs are also interested in the Rangers left back. Now, I'm happy with this. In terms of I'm happy, it's a player that I think's done well come in. And if it's a player that we can go on and get X amount for, then that's the business model that we've all been crying out for. We've all been crying out for us signing these young talents and seeing them develop a little bit. Maybe it's come a bit too soon in terms of the transfer, but this is a player that's of course came in for very, very cheap, and a player with a lot of potential, played, and then of course we're going to be selling him for the big bucks, because if Chelsea are involved and are looking to sign a player, then there will be a decent amount on the table, especially the fact that he signed a 4-year contract initially when he joined the football club. So we've all been crying out for this, and it's a bit happy, whilst it might seem a bit premature, if we can make quick flips like this, bring in a player for X amount, I can't remember what the fee was, 250k or something like that, it was very, very cheap, and sell him for £10 million, which Chelsea would pay that sort of money, that they're accustomed to paying that sort of money for young and up-and-coming talents, then that's good business in my personal opinion. And it's also a player that I don't necessarily think that would leave a massive hole within the team. It's good money, good business from the football club. I think Ridvan could do his job as well. He's just a player that, of course, looks like he can go on a real high trajectory, and that's what the clubs would be paying the money for. So I'm not opposed to transfers like this. I'm happy with that. The one I'm a bit sadder about, of course, is the rumours about Hamza Igaman, of course, achieving or receiving a lot of transfer interest. But again, we've all been complaining about abysmal business recently, but this is the route we want to go down under Nils Cooper, and of course the Rangers board have looked to address it this way. So even if Hamza Igaman stayed for a year and we managed to get 20 million quid for him, then that's good business from the football club. And then it's again taking that profit and reinvesting it into some more of these seeds, putting little seeds into the thing and seeing the plants grow. That's what we're in the business for. Unfortunately, there'll be a lot of older fans amongst us. Again, some that have seen more success than me as a Rangers supporter. But it's different times ultimately. Rangers are a massive, massive club, but ultimately we don't have the cash. We just don't have the sponsorships that they do and the pool that they do have in the Premier League. So we have to find other ways to make money, and this is definitely the best business avenue for us. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, Jefte, initial contact has been made by Chelsea for a transfer next summer. He's not going anywhere this month unless these other clubs buck up and put in a bid. But that's the news that we have for you this evening, ladies and gentlemen, with regards to Jefte. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is, and we'll wait and see on it. But, yeah, I mean, this is what we've all wanted, right? We've all wanted to see us go down a different avenue. So, yeah, I'm fairly happy. I'm fairly flattered as well. And I don't think it would leave a gaping hole, especially if we got compensated heavily. Let's take a look, guys. I'm going to get some people in the chat. Let's see what people are saying. Sonia, she says, no, we need Jefte. Again, Sonia, I agree. I think he's a fantastic player. He's 21 years old. Definitely has a lot to go on and improve. I think he can go on and have an excellent career. But unfortunately, the way that football works, and whilst we're all Rangers supporters and we wouldn't want to play for other clubs other than Rangers, a Brazilian young lad doesn't necessarily have the dreams and aspirations to stay at Rangers his whole career. Again, maybe he may do, but ultimately that's probably not the career trajectory that he's kind of envisioning for himself. A young 21-year-old boy from Brazil is probably looking to want to try and play for Real Madrid, Barcelona one day, the highest level. But if failing that, then the Premier League, or playing the biggest league in the world, as so to speak. So whilst that, you can't hold players to ransom anyway. So if a player, you've got to show off the business model. You buy someone young, you promise them the fact they're playing for a great football club, the chance to win trophies, the chance to win European, the chance to compete in European competitions. You do well at this club, you make us some money, and then you get that chance to move on to the Premier League. Then it's a proven strategy, and then all of a sudden Rangers becomes even more attractive than it already is. Rangers is an attractive place to come and play football, of course it is, but it becomes even more attractive to those foreign players, those Brazilian lads, the players that don't know British football, the players that just want to get to the highest possible level that they can. It's a good avenue, and along the way you'll of course get players that stay for 4, 5, 6, 7 years and not move on, not be good enough to move on to the Premier League, so to speak. But that's the business model that we've got to aim at and to look at. Let's have a little look at some more guys. Hugh says, get paid big. Again, it's what everybody's crying out for. All Rangers supporters have been crying out for it for years. As we're saying goodbye to Kieran Dow, that's the case. We're all wanting to see us progress and start to have more of those Calvin Bassey sales. Whilst it's heartbreaking sometimes to see players that you like leave the club, it's unfortunately the will that keeps this football club moving and competing for all of the trophies. I hate to say it, but the other side across the road have had a fantastic business model recently. Again, I don't take it too lightly, applauding them and what they do, but ultimately we've failed in that aspect, and they've done very, very well in that aspect, and they're not the best at it in the world. Benfica are probably the number ones when it comes to wheeling and dealing and buying players for nothing, or developing players and then selling them for high profits. But certainly that's an avenue that we've needed to, because it's where the biggest wins are at. If you're not going to guarantee yourself Champions League football, then you can guarantee yourself 20-30 million pounds by a good player trading model, and this is certainly the start of it. And that's what we were promised last summer when Nils Koopman, of course, spoke about it, Philippe Clement, and already I'm starting to go, yeah, you know what? Yes, some of these players are raw, but I can see what you're doing here. Yeah, Hamza Egerman, I can see him going for 20 million pounds. I genuinely do. He's raw right now, but that's what you're buying. He's going to make mistakes whilst he's playing, but ultimately he's going to command a big fee in a year or 2 years' time and go for 20 million pounds. And Jefte was the same, in my personal opinion. So yeah. Let's have a little look more here. Robert says these EPL teams can well afford 10 or 20 million pounds to develop, and we need to clear the debt. Exactly. There's also that other aspect as well, is that we are skin. The reason why we're not necessarily making transfer moves into the market this January is because we are skin. I know it's a running joke, but we clearly haven't got that much disposable income to go out there and spend on players and buy players for large transfer fees, because we've been absolutely appalling and mismanaging money and transfers over the last couple of seasons. So it's one of those. But yeah, again, absolutely, 10 or 20 million pounds is going to go a long way for us, for sure. Let's have a little look. It's clear to see he's constantly improving. I don't see him falling off soon. Think we could do and get more later. Well, I really do appreciate that as well, and certainly I would definitely live by that as well. I do think he's 21 years old. He's got a lot to go up. I think he's got a high trajectory as well. And if he's already got interest now, and us as fans are kind of going like, how? Yes, we can see the potential. We can see that he's a good player. We can see that he's going to be a good player. But I think all of us are sitting there thinking, you know what? I don't really get why Chelsea have been making initial contact and why there's so much European interest right now. Yes, year 2 year down the line, you're right. You think you can get more. I think that's a double-edged sword in what you're saying there, Ziggy, because we've done that. We've held the bag for so long. We've held the bag with Morelos. We held the bag with Kent. We held the bag with Joe Aribo. We held the bag with Glenn Kamara, and ended up really with nothing in the big scheme of things. from what we were initially having. And I think the club may have learnt the lesson that, look, if there's £10 million, obviously we don't want to undersell these players. So if we don't know, it's only initial contact with Jefte. So if it's a couple £1 million and they're trying to buy him on the cheap like that, £2 million, then no. But if it's £10 million and you're like, right, 10 million for Jefte right now, would you take it? I think a lot of us would take that, because that £10 million can go a long way after seeing some of the signings that we did get over the summer. Whilst not everyone was a perfect signing, getting a Hamza Egaman through the door, getting a Jefte through the door, getting a Cherney through the door, getting these kind of players through the door, I think there was some success in that summer transfer market, and I think we'd all be in favour for that if there was a big bag on the table, because you don't want to get burnt. But at the same time, of course, I know what you're saying. Do you wait a year, 2 years, he gets unbelievable, and then you sell him for 20-30 million? I get it. I completely get it. Let's have a little look here again, guys. Woodlow says we need to accept that we are a selling club now. It's ultimately the situation of all clubs. Now, in terms of Celtic and Ajax and Benfica and FC Porto, unfortunately, massive clubs, huge clubs. There's not many clubs that come anywhere near the size of these clubs, especially down in Premier League when you're looking at the likes of Brentford and Ipswich Town and all this lot. Bournemouth. Ultimately, it's just they're lucky that they're on a really wealthy street. They're lucky that they're in the league that they play in, because ultimately we have to. That's the way that we make money. Unfortunately, whilst Rangers, a massive club, the league that we play in is pretty poor. I love Scottish football for what it is. I love it because Rangers play in it, but it's a poor league. There is a lot of goodness in there. There's a lot of teams, and I love the Scottish Premiership, and I wouldn't want much to change from it, apart from them playing maybe a bit more out and not just playing that low block every single game. But ultimately, it's not the best league in the world. I'm not going to kid myself on to the bank. I'm a Rangers supporter. I like Scottish football, but ultimately I'm here watching Scottish football each week just because of Rangers, and that's it. And I think a lot of you guys are the same. I'm not going to kid myself on that the league's the best thing since life spread, The Bum Sweat Kids says if it's £7 million, he has to go. Again, I would agree with that. I've got the state that we're in terms of financially. Absolutely, I think when it happens, if there's an offer of that figure, then of course we'd have to go out there and take that for sure. But guys, I've been ranting and raving, hardly ranting, but I've been talking for a very, very long time. I don't want to keep you too long, guys. But thank you for joining in. I'm going to do some more live streams like this. I love coming on the lives, and of course now I've worked out how to get the chat up on my screen. It makes it a little bit more engaging. We can have a conversation on these kind of subjects, guys. But thank you for tuning in. What do you make of the initial contact from Chelsea to Jefte? Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you sell him? And what's the minimum amount you would let him go at this moment in time if you offered the cash for this summer? How much would it have to be for you to say yes? Let me know down there in the comments, guys. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Look after yourself.